One, two, three, three. Oh, hi there. Welcome back to video 3 on bounds. We are going to be looking at truncation in this video. So we have covered almost all of this topic. We only have the exam questions, which are a lot trickier, and truncation left. So if you put 2 divided by 3 into your calculator and then you press the third to decimal key, what do you get? You're either going to get 0.6 recurring with the 6 at the end of your display, or you're going to get a 7 at the end of your display. If you have an older calculator, you're probably going to have what's on the left. And what the older calculators do is they just cut off the number. They don't round it. They're not programmed enough to do that. So it cuts off the number. And that's what truncation is just when you chop off a number at a certain point. In this case, it's 9 decimal places. If you have a more modern calculator, then it knows how to round. It's been programmed to do that. So then in that case, you can say that this number has been rounded to 10 decimal places because the 6 that's not on this display rounds the last 6 that is on the display up to a 7. Okay, so looking at 2 examples of questions. Now, before we do these, just a quick note. We chop off the digits after the specified measure of accuracy. Now, when I say measure of accuracy, I'm talking about this 1 decimal place, 2 decimal place, the nearest 10, the nearest 50, and so on. And then the second thing is you also need to fill in zeros if necessary. So that will become apparent in example 2. But as a topic, this is fairly straightforward. So when you are asked to truncate this number to 1 decimal place, the first thing you do is just write the number out, 3.784. You can then say, I'm looking to truncate it to 1 decimal place. So you draw a line after the first decimal place, and then you just chop off anything after that line. So you get 3.7. Now to 2 decimal places, 3.784. In this case, you just draw a line after the 8. You chop off the 4, so you get 3.78. Now for example 2, we're going to round to significant figures. Now, the first significant figure of a number is the first non-zero digit. So in this case, this first one is straightforward. The first significant figure is 6. Second significant figure is 3. The third significant figure is 8. So I'm going to draw a line after the 8. So 6, 3, 8, 5, 4. Draw a line after the 8. So then I get 6, 3, 8. Now, it's quite silly to round 63,800 down to 638. So you have to add 2 zeros in there. Now write the number out again, example 2, 0.04988. We're going to round to 3 significant figures. The first non-zero digit is 4, so that's the first significant figure. The second significant figure is 9. The third significant figure is 8, so draw a line after the 8, chop off the final 8, and then you get 0.0498. That has been truncated to 3 significant figures. Okay, so that's just typed up for you. If you want to pause the video, you can read it up again on here. Have a go with these 5 parts. So question 1 and question 2. Pause the video now. Okay, I'm going to go through the answers now. So you should have got the following. And you can see the question on the left is really straightforward. Question on the right, you have to add zeros sometimes to those answers. Okay, so looking at error intervals with truncation. The time t to complete a puzzle is given as 16.8 seconds truncated. So you can see that's been truncated to 1 decimal place. So there's some digits after that, which we don't know what they could have been, but we can work out a range of answers. Write down the error interval for that. Well, if, for example, it was 16.79, well, if you rounded it to 1 decimal place or 2 decimal places, you would get 16.8. Or 16.79. It doesn't quite work. So actually you can see for obvious reasons that first digit will have to be 16.8. That's the lower bound. Moving to the other end of this error interval, if you go all the way up to 16.89999 recurring, which is essentially the same as 16.9, you can therefore then find the upper bound. But it's obviously 16.9 is not included, so you can say the error interval is 16.8 up to, but not including 16.9. Second example here, this has been truncated to 2 decimal places, so the lower bound must be 20.84. It doesn't matter what's after that, so 20.84 is going to be the lower bound. Now the upper bound will be 20.849999 recurring, which is essentially 20.85, but we're not including that. So then this is your lower bound, your upper bound, or overall together, it's your error interval for this question here. Right, another example here. Alice works out the sum on her calculator. Read the question, have a go. I'll show you the answer in 2 seconds. Okay, so you should have got the following answer. I've put this in red just to highlight the fact, don't make any silly mistakes with the inequality sign. Okay, another example here. Truncation with error intervals. So rounding to 2 decimal places, you can all do that. It's going to be 2.77. Truncating to 2 decimal places, well, you draw a line after the 6, and you can see that's just going to be 2.76. I've explained that already. Now, working in the other direction, if you're told that there's a number x which rounds to 3.5 when it's rounded to 1 decimal place, we're talking about rounding, not truncating for part A. It's just rounded to 1 decimal place. What's the error interval here? Well, it could be anything from 3.45 up to, but not including 3.55. Now, when we're looking at truncation, you can spot the difference here. That's the only difference between the question is one's truncated and one's rounded to 1 decimal place. So the lowest value it could have been will have been 3.5. It can't be anything less than that. The highest value will have been 3.59 recurring, which is the same as 3.6. So, and remember, we don't include that. So there's just a short explanation there, but essentially it's what we've just been looking at. So just one exam question for you to try here. So write down the error interval. Okay, so in your books, or where if you did it in your head, that's fine. Now, there is exercise 1 which you need to complete now. It shouldn't take more than 10 minutes. It might be a 5-minute exercise. You just need to write out the answers in your books. That's the first exercise you need to do. I'll see you in the next video after you have done exercise 1.